And today I've got Pepper with me, and we're going to do watercolors. There's no opening credits because Restream's still screwed up on the opening credits thing.
And I'm trying to find the palette that I wanted to use for this show today.
Right.
So it's called Where's Pepper's Palette?
Where's Pepper's Palette? This is like an ongoing entertaining thing for us. So anyway, I've got my iPad sitting over here, and I'm trying to kind of get the chat rolled up so that I can see the chat. And I'm also noticing that no matter which way I do it, my camera is going crooked all the time. And I feel like it's doing it intentionally because it's mean or something.
And I, instead of trying to find the palette, I improvise and take a whole bunch of cans of my homemade watercolor and that I have not posted or shown people.
Right? So this is an exclusive, guys. You're like, that wasn't the intention.
That wasn't the intention. No, it was not.
It was not the
Definitely
intention.
Not.
That's not what we wanted to do. I do know, by the way, guys, that my audio is going to be out of sync, but it was either that or use the ground mic on the iPad, which I felt like would be unpleasant.
And then you have me, who's using the ground iPad, my ground iPad.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say that whatever this makes, right
Hello,
here,
Money Man.
I have bright yellow. Oh, cool. Hello.
Coming in from Periscope. That's interesting. I think you're the first time I've ever had anybody come in from Periscope. So we are working. This is Watercolor Wednesday for us. We're both comic artists, and we both are working on watercolors. So you can see this is my watercolor palette or my watercolor table, and Pepper's is wait. Let's see if I can point. Oh, I can't point. I don't know where the heck he is. Pepper's below me.
I'm Pepper, and I believe
it's the other direction. Other direction. There we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
It's this way. This way. So I'm gonna start out with something interesting that I don't normally do on your show, Guy, and that is dropping things.
Drop things. You do that normally on my show.
Yeah, I do that normally. I'm definitely a klutz when it comes to, but I'm actually going to do some swatching because I haven't used these paints in a very long time. As you can see, one of them is fairly cracked. I did not decide to go any further with that one because I couldn't get it to not crack. As far as handmade watercolors go, this is not a good thing you want to see. So,
yeah, you can see over here on my palette.
There we go.
I have some relatively cheap watercolors that are in here that they've all cracked and broken. And that's, these are the more expensive ones down here, and this one's from Pepper. And this one's from Pepper. I'm just saying, you can tell because they're nice and they're smooth and they look really pretty in my palette.
The one that's cracked actually is a extinct pigment. It's mine red.
Right.
And so now I can't even get more. If I do get more, I have to get it shipped from Japan because that's the last place that has it.
Right.
And they only sell it in they sell it for like $7 per ounce.
Gotcha. It's really expensive. I was talking actually to a friend of mine who was doing cell paints, who did cells in Japan back in the 80s and 90s. And she was talking about that too, how expensive the paints were. Well, and I'm glad that you came here for something sane, but you do have to be aware the sanity is relative.
There's some insane stuff that may come out of my mouth. I know that for sure. So
we will definitely try not to be insane any more than we have to. I do want to highlight my new paint puck, which is this guy here. It's really nice.
Your very
it's
fancy
silicone.
coffee cup.
Yep, my not coffee cup. It's silicone here, So the silicone seals the bottom, but it's got little teeny nibs on the bottom of the cup, which is great because that way when I take my paintbrush and I put it into the water here, I can clean it by rubbing against these nibs without damaging the actual brush. That's one of the things that a lot of people have a problem with watercolors or any paints, and that is that they will, mash the brush against the bottom of the cup to try to get the paint off of it. And in doing so, you train the bristles to be sort of wild and woolly, and it becomes really strange. And so this is really good, but it also has these really cool little holding spots on the side which hold the brushes for them to dry out. Really like that. I mean, I will use something like this guy here. This guy's got a water reservoir in him, and so this is what I use for my fine detailed stuff right in there. And that's really getting in close when we get in here and start working on like the face and stuff like that. Oh man, I draw comics and I'm 49. So there's that. You can collect comics and I'll draw them. And that sounds perfectly reasonable to me. So
I don't know. I've met comic book collectors and comic book authors of all ages. So I think it's all maybe.
Geekdom knows no age. So I've got there is nothing wrong with that, my friend. Nothing wrong with that at all. Welcome to the club of people who are your peeps, because that's what we all do here. I have a George hair in here. Oh my goodness. George is my feline companion, and he was just up here and he was walking on everything. And I was like, George, I'm about to paint. Please go somewhere else. And I've managed to do that, but now I'm finding little black hairs on everything, and I'm like, well, I don't know why he had to come over here and shed, but apparently that was his thing this morning.
You know what? To each their own.
Well, it's funny to think that I have a 10-year-old human and a 6-month-old cat, and both of them are equally as much trouble. The 10-year-old just came up here to inform me he's going to do schooling downstairs in the living room so he can stay out of our way, which I thought was awful sweet of him. That was kind of nice of him. So there's that. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to start with real quick here is that I have added 2 new colors to my palette. These I picked up at Gyrie's, and they are it's an ochre of some sort, and it's a flesh color of some sort. And I picked them up before you were mixing flesh for me.
Okay.
So they, because like I had you, this color, by the way, right here on the palette is specially mixed for this character's skin. So dial H for hero. You can interrupt all you want, my friend. Keep interrupting. We're just going to keep painting. But this color
honestly,
here.
I think dial H for hero was a little bit before my time.
It might. Well, no, I remember it. It was before your time because you're younger than me.
Yeah.
But I think he and I are in the same age range. So, we're 80s kids. So it's one of those things.
I do remember watching it as reruns, if that helps. I just don't.
If it helps.
As a kid, I did not watch it.
Right. So that's okay, my friend. That's okay. It's all good.
That's cool.
So I am going to, and don't worry about interrupting. If we're in the middle of saying something, we'll wait and then talk. Yeah. So you won't bother us at all. I'm actually kind of glad to see you here because, like I said, you're the first one I've ever gotten off of Periscope. I use a program called Restream, and Restream allows me to broadcast on multiple platforms at the same time. So I'm out on Facebook right now, and on YouTube, and on Twitter, and on Twitch. And so I've had people come in on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch, but you're the first one to come in from Twitter. So I'm glad to see you for multiple reasons.
Not Twitter. That doesn't look like Twitter's icon.
That's Periscope. Isn't Periscope coming in from Twitter?
Is it?
I think so.
I didn't know.
Anyway,
Did
good to
not
see
know
you.
that. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay. Something's blinging.
That would be my husband. So
Okay.
he's in the
Your
background.
husband is blinging. I don't know
Yeah.
what to say about that.
He's doing his
Okay.
job. That's basically what it
That's
is. We
what he
both work
does.
from home, so
I
and we
need
have to share an
to.
office.
Right. Oh yeah, I don't blame you, man. I'm done. I am done with TV too. Yeah, and I'm not even bringing it up in the show here. Okay, so what I'm doing is in the upper part of my palette here, it is I put an example of the color in so they can see what it looks like. So that's what we're doing right here, is doing that. And I'm just wanting to, that'll dry at some point. I guess everything I do is going to be reversed because my desk, if you're wondering, my desk is a 1953 Mayline, which is a wonderful old art desk.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it also is at a slight angle, which means all of my everything water rolls down this way, which isn't helping me much. That's okay. Oh, yeah, look at that. Now I've got all the paint off of my brush. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. Look at that. So we're going to go over here. We're going to take this guy right here. I'm going to do the same thing.
I forgot on how concentrated one of my colors was. It's
all about pigment.
I mean, I love it, but so to talk a little bit more about what I think I'm doing the same thing that you are, Guy. I'm doing
Prepping
some swatching of the colors and stuff. But also at the same time, this is not the palette of colors I chose. Like, I did end up choosing this, but like I didn't want to do them.
So it's not the palette that you chose, but it's the palette that you needed.
Yeah, for this show.
No, actually, it wasn't. Stop quoting things.
Yeah. I actually, so to let everyone know, like, what I'm working with, I actually have 2 extinct pigments on this particular. They're not really extinct as far as just hard to get for some. Others, basically, I can't get them in this country anymore. Mayan Red, which was manufactured, has stopped being manufactured altogether.
Right.
And then I also have Colonial Umber.
Remind me to say something when you're done.
Okay. Then I have Colonial Umber on this, which is this guy right here, the small one. They were doing a thing where it was saying that they weren't going to be producing it anymore. And because of that, I ended up grams for like $16 because they wanted to clear out their stock because they didn't want to carry it anymore. So I got something that was worth about much higher than that for very cheap. But I love the colors, and so I'm just playing around. I'm doing mixes here right on the paper. These are the single pigments right here that I have with this palette. To go down the list, this is my Blue Skin. This is Sienna. I believe this is both blue. No, this is Blue Hue PR102, which is also a variation of an ochre that's been basically heated. This is Verona Green Earth, the Colonial Raw Umber, Bright Yellow, Mayan Red, and this is the Skin Tone Purple shade. That's what I did, and I don't remember on how I made it, so therefore it's never being made again.
Right. Your recipe is gone.
Yeah.
That's kind of a bummer.
Back when I was doing things willy-nilly and just making things and not realizing I should probably write it down. So,
Right.
but there's only two pigments that are actually like pigment mixes, and that's the purple skin and then the no, just a purple skin. Everything else is a single pigment. So, Guy, you wanted to say something, and I rudely interrupted.
Actually, I rudely interrupted you, so it's all good. It actually is just fine. What I was going to say was I've been really, since our last show on Friday, been very much into the Miyazaki palette that you were talking about. And I went out and found the colors. There are 3 that are discontinued. I think you even said that.
Mm-hmm.
And they replaced them. So if you go to the actual Miyazaki Museum in Mitaka, you can get this still, but they've replaced them with 3 colors, which one of them is like a bamboo green, but it's but the original was more like an olive drab.
Yeah.
And so I was struck with the idea that, you know, what I should do is see if I can't commission you to recreate that color or the 3 colors that are missing.
They actually, if you go online and actually just type in Miyazaki palette on YouTube, you will find someone who actually has already done that for you.
Well, yes, but I would rather pay you.
I don't have the pigments required.
They're
all owned by. Yeah, Holbein came out. They released it for a short time. Like what you could do to get the colors if you wanted them. And an artist in Japan that's originally from Poland, but his wife is Japanese. Basically went online, recreated the palette completely, and then shows you on how to recreate those colors.
Yeah, I mean, I totally, like I said, I got obsessive about it over the weekend. And I spent the entire, I think most of the weekend recreating the palette in RGB and HSL colors, which was kind of cool. And so I have all the readings on the colors. The real reason I'm after this is when I started building this palette, I just built it. I didn't think about what colors I needed or what was a smart move or, you know, what kind of colors would I want, things like that. And so with the Miyazaki palette, I'm like, oh, okay, at least that's a start, right? We at least can start with something.
Yeah.
I can at least move from the right color and out into sort of more of a thing. You know, move to some logical organization. I mean, no matter what, I'm going to keep Othello blue because, you know, I'm completely enamored with that color. But everything else in here, these are all rather old paints. You can tell because they're cracked and they're kind of, you know, and they were cheap to begin with, and I don't think they were very expensive to begin with. So,
yeah,
that's kind of one of those things. I mean, I don't knock them. My dad got me that set.
Have a good lunch.
Many moons ago. So,
sorry about that interruption, Guy.
No, I was just going to say my dad got me that set many moons ago, and so I'm not going to complain. But now that I've gotten more serious about watercolor, I'm going to do a little bit. I want to do a little bit better layout of my palette. So that's my thought. See you later. I'm glad that you joined us. Thank you. Come back and join us again. We're doing this every day. Well, not watercolor, but I do my show every day. We do Wednesday watercolors every Wednesday, but it's 10 to noon Mountain Time.
Yeah, starting this Wednesday was it. Sorry, I'm
I think he's out. I think he's out on the East Coast if he's getting lunch right now. So
Yeah.
which
So
is
after our last discussion, guy, I went out and they were having a sale on Altoids.
uh-oh.
So I got 2 tins. The Altoids are now in possession of my husband because I can't eat
An
them.
Altoids person.
No, I love Altoids, but this is the wintergreen one, so my husband can have them. I am going to try to do the 3D printers so that I can get something in these, and hopefully we can get the ball rolling for that. And Brent actually sent me a link for
An internal palette
yeah,
for one of those Altoids.
yeah. My by the way, this video is not sponsored by Altoids at all.
No,
in any
it's
way,
not.
shape,
But
or
those
form.
Altoids makes the best little container for everything.
Oh yeah. Trying to find my spare plate.
I think that's a great thing. I've got a ton of little Altoids canisters over here, which I have kept
You know what?
for just this purpose. You know what I'm learning right now, Pepper?
What?
I should have started from the left side of the picture as I stick my hand in the wet paint over here.
Are you right-handed?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
totally a oops moment. That's all right. That's okay. We've been practicing keeping our elbows off the table and keeping our wrists off the table every morning for this show, except this morning, obviously. And that's why we practice that. I guess that's why we do that.
I do want to get there's this thing. By the way, if anyone's wondering what I'm doing, if you're coming in later, I'm just cleaning off a plate that I use for mixing when I don't have a mixing palette attached to the colors I'm doing. But I am waiting. You can actually get one. Do this like very simply with a dowel from like Home Depot or something. Get a dowel, attach it to the top of your desk, or just lean it up against the top of your desk, and you can rest your arm on that, and it just has to be elevated on the other end.
Yep.
So that,
I've seen those with the little like. It's got like some people will put a little like ball on the end so that it can touch the paper and not tear the paper.
Yep.
Yeah. So I am.
Those are wonderful. Ooh.
I agree.
Okay. So
I keep adding just a little bit more green in the background here, just a little bit more green, and then I'm like, I've gone too far.
well, you know what's horrible is I use this Verona Green Earth, and it takes a little while to get it fully activated. At times, even when I make it with like, because it came out really good, and I don't want to change the formula that I used to make this, but like even now, like when I remake this color, what's funny is very light after it dries. It takes a while to get like this dark color that I have right here with this mix. But like the first time you do it, it's like very light. And then once it gets going, it gets that deeper. So I do like going back over that green in washes at times because it does come off so light at certain points.
Well, and that's what I'm using is a Verandina green.
A Viridian green.
Yeah, but I think it's a knockoff because it's one of the cracked ones.
It's probably not a knockoff. It probably is cracked because of the process that they use to make the paint.
Oh, I need smoother
Smoother paint.
smoother paints. I need smoother paints.
Well, I'm trying to remember. If you need to fill those pans again, get some corn syrup or honey and mix it in.
Oh, there you go.
So,
I think I'm going to replace everything that's in here. It's cracked. I'm just going to replace it at some point.
oh, okay.
And the reason I
Well, you
say
can do
that
that
is
too.
because
You can do that too.
yeah, I'm going to replace it with the Miyazaki palette, which I may actually go and buy the tubes for those at some point. The everything but the ones that are no longer for sale.
So, forewarning. Last time I priced them out by tubes individually, it was about $400 something.
How much paint did you get? Because I was looking at the 5-ounce, 5 milliliter
That was
versions.
that was not the 5 millimeter. It was the 15
Yeah,
millimeter.
yeah. Because with a 5 milliliter, I can do it in like 70.
Yeah. But also at the same time, if you just splurge and get their largest kit, you get all their colors and you can just do whatever mix you want.
I could, but I don't have that kind of money. Back to the starving artist part of this world.
I'm just saying, you can
You're
do
just
it.
saying.
You can do it. All right. So, is anyone in the chat?
I don't think anybody's in there anymore. I think G Money Man has gone to lunch. It was good talking to him, though.
Yeah, it was nice.
I think he's having problems with something, whatever's going on the news, and I have no earthly idea what's going on the news, and I'm frankly not interested at this moment for much the same reason that he was here.
I honestly, at this point, it's not
Kind of
that I'm
burned out.
avoiding the news. I'm just kind of done.
Yeah, I'm kind of burned
All
out
right.
here.
So we have mixes on right here. Guy is doing his people first comic.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and draw something. I guess
You're like, I don't know what to do here.
For one of my well, I mean, I am very not prepared today. I just want to throw that out there for everyone. I am not prepared.
That's all right. You know, we still love you. It's all good.
Yeah. So
that doesn't change. Actually, even though I'm sitting here going, ha 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 ha, Pepper. The truth is, yesterday I got onto the show and I just didn't want to do the work. So I did a digital painting instead. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not into it. This morning, I've been much more together and with it because I had to draw this drawing and print it in time for the show. So I had to think up something. I was trying to think up, what am I going to do for the show? And I came to the conclusion to do this picture, which is my characters from a while back in the story, before the story. Because these two are buddies and have been buddies for a long, long time. And so I wanted to kind of do a picture of, this is what Chang and Tum were like when they were in, academy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to kind of put this in there.
And I'm going to do a character that is in a story called Buckles. It's basically I don't know if I want to really call it the horror genre, because I know some people may say that it is. But basically what it is they find a missing girl, and it's not the best of situations on how they find her. And then after they find her, she wakes up. Not a zombie. She's fully alive again.
I was just wondering, because
Yeah.
you said horror, and now we're into zombies.
Yeah. And basically, her killer is still in town.
I like the fact that she's not a zombie, but her killer is still in town.
Yeah.
Like, no, really, she's not a zombie. We're just saying she's not a zombie. Did we mention she's not a zombie? But her killer is still here somewhere.
Yeah, her killer is not in town. Is in town. And she is the second. She's the second girl, not the first one, to have what happened to her. But she's the first one to be alive, I guess, afterwards. I'm still thinking this through.
Okay.
No,
it actually sounds intriguing as soon as you say it that way, as if that's intentional, and it sounds like it very much is, then that sounds actually kind of intriguing.
Yeah. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Those of you who are wondering about color theory here, the opposite of green is purple. So I am mixing some purple into my green background to give it some conflict sort of things that look cool, make the background look nifty. But this is when you do watercolors.
Are you turning it brown?
We're turning it brown. Is exactly
brown.
It's not. It's actually still holding purple, but yeah. We're getting some brown in here. But it's holding purple. It's fine.
Yeah.
The purple's kind of cool, though. Just giving it some color that's, want something in the background that's just because this is a solo picture. And it's just sitting by itself, just to show these two characters. And so I want to give just some background. Maybe blue might be a little bit better. Phthalo blue. I'm just saying.
Phthalo blue. The P is silent.
Phthalo. I will not let my P be silent. I don't even know what to say about that. I don't even know where I'm going or why, but there's that.
Yeah, that's an awkward moment in the show.
Right?
I will not let my P be silent. What are you talking about? Please let me know. Blink twice if your wife beats you.
Right? Oh, man. Okay. Let's add some of this blue in here. Give it some color. I like this color. We all kind of, anybody who's been on this show for a while knows that I have a great deal of love for phthalo blue.
You know what's funny is your favorite color is probably the worst one for me to ever make.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because it's hydrophobic. So when you try to make a phthalo blue or a phthalo green by hand, it can take you hours.
I could see
to get
that.
it completely done.
I promise that I will never ask you for that. I promise. It's also really rich. It's got a lot of pigment.
The payoff is really good. I'm not saying that. Like, it's a nightmare to hand mow.
Could see that. I could totally see that.
So, since we're starting this show this week, this is the first Watercolor Wednesday. So what do you want to do next week? Do you want to have it planned and have it televised while we plan it?
That's not a bad idea. I actually was kind of thinking that we could do our Wednesday and Thursday shows at the same time if we wanted to. We don't have to.
You mean Friday?
Yeah, yeah. Did I say Thursday? I meant Friday.
Yeah. I was about to say I didn't know that we had a Thursday show.
Little
What
did
Thursday
you know,
show are you
you're on the
talking
show.
about?
I hope you're here tomorrow. I'm kidding.
Okay, so what's this show and how are you filming me? Is Bill filming for me? What's going on? Do you tape or strap George with a GoPro camera and make him wander around the house for a show for you?
I'm not saying that I wouldn't do that, but I would say that you should probably watch my GoPros closely. George is like, crap. What the hell did I get into?
He's like, run!
Poor cat. Poor cat. Well, to be fair, he brings it onto himself.
He's also a young cat too, so like, yeah, he has a lot to grow into. Once he becomes an
Right.
old man cat, like I think he'll be wise and stuff like that, and then you guys will get another cat. He won't like it. He'll constantly be like, stop that.
Right. It's going to be a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. He's a good cat, though. He's young, but he's good. He's not a bad cat. There's an artist that I'm following on Instagram who does a lot of stuff with a flat brush like this, a large flat brush, including right in here in the details in the eyes. And it astonishes me. It astonishes me every time I watch his work. Just amazing work.
Yeah,
and I yeah. I was just gonna say I can't even imagine how to do it. That's all.
I mean, I can watch people do that. Like, for me, I'm like, I personally, I can't do it. I'm too much of a control freak myself and I know that I'll be too worried constantly.
Right.
So, like, for me, it would be torturing myself if I tried it. I know one of these days I should try it because I do have flat brushes, but I don't use them. For the very reason I just said. So.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and that's why today I am working with my flat brush. Yeah. And see whether I can't pull this off. I gotta admit, there is some great control on here with the flat brush. It is interestingly easy to control. I wouldn't have thought that was the case, but it is because I've got I can come in at an angle and hit at an angle, and I've got a point, So to some degree, I can kind of see where this is going. I would not have expected that.
Yeah.
Okay, so since this is my space show and I can do it any way I wanted, the uniforms are phthalo blue and green for her, especially because those are my two favorite colors. So since she's my main character, I can make this any color I wanted. The color that I wanted to make was phthalo blue. So if you're wondering why her uniform is blue, it's because I said so. There we go.
All right. And I think I gave her like a bobblehead, which some kids do have.
Yeah,
basically,
they usually
it looks like an adult head on a tiny neck.
I'm making snarky comments.
Hmm? You made a snarky comment?
Yeah, you said some kids have, and I said, yeah, but they keep them on their shelves.
Yeah.
You're snarking over here. I know, you're shocked. You're shocked. I tell you, shocked.
I am not shocked, sir. I am not shocked. There is nothing you can shock me about.
Yep.
I would only be shocked if you sat there and you were like, yeah, I used to make fun of those kids. Like, that would probably
Yeah, that
shock
would be a
me
little
if you
shocking,
said
and I don't
something
even
like
think I
that.
would joke about that.
Yeah. That would be. So.
Do have to say, I dig the way this brush controls. It's weird. I would not have expected that, but I dig it.
Is it another Guy Reese brush?
No, it's just a flat brush.
Okay.
But I wanted to try. No, actually, it's a Michael's Special.
Ah, okay.
Not even. I do believe this brush set of like 12 brushes might have cost $10. Maybe.
Okay. So, is it synthetic bristle? Most likely.
More than likely. Yeah, odds are good.
I know a lot of people go on and on how they want natural hair or natural fiber brushes, and gotta say, synthetic so far, they're much cheaper.
Yep. They're much cheaper and they operate just as well, in my opinion. I mean, this is working just fine. I don't see any real reason why. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks fine to me.
Hey, if it's fine for you, don't worry about it so much.
Right? That's the whole thing. But I am trying to do the thing. Trying to work here in. So last night, I was talking to a friend of mine, Jan Scott Frazier, who has been in the was in the anime fandom scene back in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And she went over to Japan and actually got a job working in anime. She was at Production IG. She worked for a while at like Gynax and stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
it was really cool. And I haven't talked to her in a long time, and so I invited her on to. I'm doing a little like trying to capture all of the history of the anime clubs in Colorado, because
Cool.
and it's not just the anime clubs, it's just the convention scene in general. I've been going to conventions since 1984, and I realized that there's sort of the scene isn't being captured anymore. People are starting to forget where a lot of that comes from. That's fine. It fits my mission statement for DK and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
but it was cool talking to her because she was talking about cell work. Because of course,
Yeah.
she went over to Japan in 89, 90, something like that. And then she was working at all the anime studios through the 90s. And so she and I were talking about that, and she's going to teach me how to do cells.
Cool.
And that's going to be awesome. Once I know how to do that, I'm going to do watercolors and cells. But it was amazing listening to her reminisce about doing, cell work and just doing animation in general. I have a degree in animation, but it's from the 90s, so 90% of what, or from the 2000s. So most of the stuff that I got was how to use 3D programs and how to use After Effects and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she and I were talking about that, and she's like, gosh, if we had only had After Effects in the 90s, she's like, I could have cut my staff in like a third. That needed half the people, you know.
Hey, Donald.
So
well, that sounds awesome.
it was a great discussion. For those who are interested in seeing that interview, if anybody is, it will be available at the museum at NDK, which hopefully we will actually have NDK this year. This is certainly something we are hoping for.
Cool.
So
I need to get a table for NDK, apparently.
you need a what?
A lot of people keep telling me I should go and do it. A lot of people have told me I should do NDK as an artist.
I think so too. I mean, the artist alley is hard to get into because there's a lot of people who want to get in that, but
yeah,
it is definitely cool.
I'm doing something a little bit different too. Just I don't know if you guys are tuning in or not. I normally ink before doing my watercolors, but this one I'm doing the watercolors before I ink. So, if you're wondering what I'm doing.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time wondering what you're doing there, Pepper.
I ask myself that on a regular basis.
Every morning.
Every
I
morning.
do too. I get up in the morning and I look in the mirror.
I don't know.
What are you doing?
I don't know, but my husband has already opened the blinds to the patio, which means I cannot make it.
Yeah, well, that's a thing.
It is. It is. You know, looking at True Mayan Red, I just want to point out that it does kind of look like blood.
I think there's something about True Mayan and blood involved here.
Yes.
The Mayans were really big on that sacrifice thing.
Yeah.
There we go. We're just going to go in here using this beautiful flesh color that was made for this character. This flesh color does not actually exist in the real world except for Chang. She's the only one who uses this, which I think is awesome.
You know, I was thinking if you wanted to modify that with another color, you can try it mixing it with your phthalo blue.
Yeah.
To get maybe possibly
you're gonna call it phthalo blue from now on. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's gonna get into your skin.
Phthalo blue.
Phthalo blue. Just saying.
Yeah. I think you could probably get a few colors differentiations out of it. If you ever like bring in like a family member of hers or something.
Yep. Oh yeah, probably. I don't know, Donald. My thought is seahorses would I don't know. He's asking if seahorses, if we painted seahorses, would they run? or would they gallop? Oh
Gallop.
no, the paints are galloping off of my. I think that sort of goes for the same question as to whether if you use watercolors for horses, does the watercolor gallop? Welcome to the
They
show,
run.
Donald. We missed you. There we go. And I agree with you, by the way. I didn't mean to ignore what you were saying. You've got some extraordinarily valid points there.
Oh no, I just like I'm like I don't even know if Guy's gonna bring in her family. Whatever. I just figured if they're family members of her, they'd probably have a similar skin tone, but maybe
Yep.
like a hue off
I
or
agree.
something.
I agree.
So it wouldn't just be like hopefully like I just didn't like I wanna like I like the fact that it's solely for Chang, but like at the same time, like I've been using the color because I took a sample of it myself, and it's way more versatile than I realized when I first created it. So,
Right? It is a pretty versatile color.
um,
I concur. Donald's like, I was trying to make a joke about a water horse. I'm with you. I'm with you, bro.
oh, we understood, Donald. We understood.
We just wandered way off into the left field as we are wont to do.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to clear the palette here because we're going to have to go into Tum. Tum, I'm going to use that brown, that really dark brown that you gave me,
Okay, cool.
because
Have
that
you
seems
tested
to.
that yet?
Well, we're about to, so let's see what happens, shall we?
Yeah.
This could be awesome or could not be. We'll see.
Yeah.
Actually, I see that. It's a pretty color, and it lays down a really nice color too. It's a very reddish brown.
Yeah.
It's like it's better than sepia as red goes, but it's not as red as like burnt sienna, and I like that. So we're putting a little bit more water in. Again, this is my jar that specifically says water in it. That's what it says. The Japanese just says it's got water. Thanks. We'll get ourselves some of this brown.
There's a product there for painting over in Japan I do once. It's a type of porcelain fixture, but I can't find it anywhere. Um, Painters use. I see painters using it, but it's like there's a giant cup in the center, and then there's like 4 or 5 wells like in the front of it that's attached all in one base. I've only seen Japanese artists have it, so it's like one of those things of you see it once and you never are able to find it.
Right. Donald, I remember the ancient Chinese secret commercials. Those were tied, as I recall. Ancient Chinese secret. My husband, some hotshot. Here's his ancient Chinese secret. Gosh, those are ancient, those commercials.
That's from the 80s, right?
It's from the 70s, I believe. I have a rogue George here causing trouble on here. George.
Well,
Pest.
here's the funny thing is so my mom sent
Your mom.
me so yeah, my mom sent me some pictures of my childhood from a while back.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going into commercials. So the TV, I guess, was on when pictures were being taken of me and my siblings.
Right?
And so there's an old car commercial going on for like Nissan or something. No, not Nissan. Buick. Yes, Buick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the 1980s, and the TV's black and white, of course. So it comes off like really like super weird. And I'm like, I don't even remember the commercial, but I remember the jingle for the local dealership that used that ad.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was just like I remember just by looking at the picture.
That is actually really cool. Yeah, my I thought that was funny. You were like Nissan. I'm like, when I was a kid, it was Datsun. That's how old I am.
I like I said, I corrected myself because I had to, because I don't think we had the Nissan dealership until the 90s. So
Yeah, I think Nissan bought Datsun. Hey, Guy Pepper, and serious look, Donald. I don't know what the serious look's about, but I figured I'd act it out on the predication that it was funny. So it's good to see you too, Brent. While we're at it,
Hey, Brent.
And I'm not sure why we were serious looking, but we were serious looking. I'm assuming this is something going on here between Donald and Brent.
Hey, so long as you don't try to pull me into like a Newman situation, I'm good. And for those of you who don't remember Newman from Seinfeld,
Guilty pleasure shows on Netflix. Is it Man in the High Castle? Because that's what I'm stuck on. I am so stuck on that.
honestly, I've been watching Peacock lately. Yeah, I wanted to watch Eureka, the old Sci-Fi Channel show, and it's on Peacock because it was taken off of Netflix and put on there. And now the latest acquisition of Peacock is The Office. So
now you're officing.
no, I've been thinking about it because it's not on Netflix anymore. But Peacock has commercials because it's a streaming service similar to Hulu, but it's like NBC's version of streaming. And I have the free version that comes with Xfinity Comcast. So
right. Something just went pulling over here, and it is time for the mid-show stretch, which is good because I got to let this dry for a minute or two. So I'm going to stand up and actually check to see what just went bling over here, because something. Okay, that sounds like to me Creative Cloud just wigged again, which yep. That's Creative Cloud wigging. That's right. Everybody, stand up and stretch.
Oh, I have to too? Okay, hold on.
It's good for us. It's good for you. You shouldn't sit down for 3 hours.
come on. Huh.
Well, that's
We
one of the
haven't been
reasons
on
why
for
I do
3
this,
hours, have
is
we?
because if we don't get up and move around, we would sit down and stretch, or sit down for 3-hour stretches.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
good thing I have the good shirt on.
Yep. There we go. Stretching.
Stretch my arms. Stretch my arms.
Stretch your arms. Shake out the hands. Make sure everything is all
I'll do
like,
it like I'm. I'll do it like I'm in kindergarten again.
right.
Shake
Wiggle,
the
wiggle,
hands.
wiggle. Okay, now we can get back to work.
Oh, Kudoli.
Oh yeah. Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai. I'm wondering whether there's season 3. I haven't gotten to Cobra Kai yet because I'm still trying to. I'm at season 4 of Man in the High Castle. Some days.
And I just want
to. I get that one.
I just want to go back to Donald's comment: Tab soda or Fanta. Why not both?
Right.
From the 80s, man. I'll take the Tab soda from the 80s. It had cocaine in it.
Oh, you have to walk dogs. Yeah. I have a kid too. You probably walk your kid. I know I walk my kid. Or at least I try to walk my kid. Sometimes it doesn't go as well as I wanted it to, but that's okay. It's fine.
It's the leash, guy. I keep telling you, you need a better leash.
I need a new leash on life?
No, for your kid.
Right? It's totally a new
How
leash.
else is he supposed to...
You're like, wait, what is he saying? Oh. Oh, gosh. We are having a day.
We're not used to talking to one another day yet.
Right? This is like totally new stuff for us.
Donald, Tab commercials were fun because of those flat stomach model things. But they were flat stomach models because they literally, back in the day, it was the old version of Coke, just with less sugar, and cocaine was involved.
You're talking about Tab? Oh, yeah, Tab.
Yeah, Tab. Yeah, they had they had a pretty...
They had a thing going for them, didn't they?
They had a thing going back in the day, and then it came out that because Tab is a Coke product. Then it came out that they had cocaine, like active cocaine in it, and that's what made it so easy for a diet drink. It's not like that anymore. Tab is not like that anymore.
Jolt soda. Jolt has, I don't know why, but Jolt always tastes like salt to me.
I honestly never actually liked Jolt soda, Jolt Cola, but then again, we were a Coca-Cola family,
right?
Florida and Georgia, they both have manufacturing plants for Coca-Cola, so Georgia is the original plant.
Yep. Yep.
So, I wonder.
It's starting little reservoirs of green over here. It's kind of wild. Working in that negative space is kind of wild too. Like, I mean, we want highlight on the underside of the breast there to just give a little bit of like shape to that. She doesn't have a lot of shape because she's not a big breasted person, but you still kind of want that a little bit of shape there just to give an illustration. It's there. And so I'm always working this negative space where it's like the idea here is to not paint there. You know, it's so weird.
You know, I was paranoid and I tried starting doing that and I kept hating myself for messing up. Then I found this wonderful thing called Deleter White Ink.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never looked back.
And I mean, certainly I could do that, and I've thought about it. And I've got a white pen in the other room and stuff like that, and it's not a problem. But this is an experiment. I'm using a flat brush for this. I'm going to do everything I can to try to... No. Donald got kicked off by a text. But he's back, so that's at least a plus.
Well, at least he wasn't banned. That's good.
Good heavens. Couldn't imagine banning either Brent or Donald. They're here all the time, and so it's like, that would be really sad. I think I'd make me so sad.
Yeah.
Let's not ban you guys. We like you guys. All
I'm
right.
not saying to do that, guy. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why'd you ban them? I didn't mean to.
I didn't ban them. I didn't say they were banned. No.
Yeah.
No.
All right. We've got the uniform in for her.
Oh, cool. I'm
Now
happy that you actually like the brush cleaner stuff that I recommended.
Yes. Not only that, this puck thing is just really cool.
A free side of what?
A free side a la Gundam.
Are you getting one of the original? Like, are you getting one of those giant robots that they built in Japan? Like that looks like Gundam.
It's not just that; he's getting an entire space station for free.
Oh, all right. Well, you know what? That's a side right there, man.
Right? That's the side
we're
talking about, man. That's the side.
And Brent, awesome. If that happened, you'd go to Twitch.
Yeah, I figure. I mean, I just keep thinking about, these guys are like staples of my day. I don't know what I'd do without these guys around.
So yesterday I was on a show with Monday I was on a show with Peter Palmiotti and a guy named Frank Salazar. That was a fun show. You had talked about your interview. I'm going to talk about mine.
No, that sounds awesome, man.
Yeah.
What'd you talk about? Comics.
We just talked about our goals for the years and stuff. Pretty much like what we talk about
on Fridays.
On Fridays, but what was interesting is we're all doing something very different. Peter Palmiotti has a comic that he's been working on. Frank has had some. He's doing like these mini comic stuff that he's been making with a bunch of other people in a group that we're both in. And it was nice to sit down and just chat with them. Because I haven't done that in a while.
Right?
Yeah. But it's up on YouTube already. So if you want to watch it, it's like an hour or so.
Yeah, maybe.
Guy got Bob Ross. Oh, I got to see that clip. I haven't watched the full show from yesterday.
Oh, I got all Bob Rossi. I did.
I can see it now. You just take this happy Phthalo
Pathalo blue.
blue.
Happy little Pathalo blue. I like Pathalo blue. I'm taking some ivory black and mixing it in with my burnt umber here and try to get her hair to go a little darker.
Careful with the black watercolor paint, man.
Yeah.
I say that out of love.
Yeah, I figure. It's one of those things where not feeling like this hair is dark enough. It's merging in with Tom's skin, for one, which is problematic. And I really want this to be darker anyway, than his skin. So we're trying to kind of get in here a little more. Very calm. Yeah, I couldn't, I was really not with it yesterday. I just could not get organized, could not get started, so, Well, I appreciate that you thought I was all Bob Rossi yesterday. I felt very zen, though. I mean, it was very comfortable to be working in without a deadline or anything like that. I just was painting, just having fun painting.
That is nice.
I kind of already decided I wasn't going to fight with with trying to figure out what I was going to do, and it was great. It was just peaceful, very peaceful. There we go.
So I've actually been thinking about what type of colors for a Halloween palette.
That's right. You were talking about that Friday.
So I think one of the colors is going to be this bright yellow, because it's like very bright. Like it's the yellow on the palette type deal. If y'all can see that. But the camera doesn't do justice. I probably can hold it up to here. Yeah, this is probably a better way to see it. Yeah, that bright yellow. I'm still trying to find an orange I really like for the a pumpkin orange. But a lot of people that have pumpkin orange, it's like a mixture of two colors. Of course, I'm making a mess right now.
Well, that's what we do.
Yeah. Of course. OCD kicked in. All right. Nope.
They kill you in the end. Yeah. Deadlines. Ugh. Okay. I'm gonna go back in now I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna patch up some skin problems that I have over here with Chang.
You have skin problems now with Chang?
Yeah, it's a thing. She sees a doctor. It's okay.
Is she okay? Like,
She'll be fine.
Did
She'll
you
be
get
fine.
like an excess amount of paint or something in like one corner of her face?
No, I'm just trying to patch up her. I need to come up with a good color for her lips. She also got kind of a zone on her face that needs to be kind of thinned out a little. Watercolors are great because you can just work, and just thin that out, you know.
Yeah, I'm doing the line art right now.
There we go. That actually doesn't look bad either. Just smoothing out some of those weird colors.
Yeah.
Because I got kind of, so I'm trying to get an open zone on her face for, obviously there's a backlight right over here somewhere that's hitting their faces. So I'm trying to get an open zone across the face. That's working. That's fine. But now I've got to come up with, you know, just a little bit of cadmium red in here. And be careful because cadmium red is like a mess as far as like it goes. Did you hear a knock on a door? The knock knock joke. There we go. I'll bring in some of this. So I'm just trying to mix in her flesh with some cadmium red. And so I can get a pinkish color out of this. And what I'll probably end up doing is making this color at some point in time as a permanent pink of some sort. But she doesn't have a super pink sort of color for her lips. She's not wearing makeup, and so she doesn't actually. Uh-oh, that didn't go well. That actually went very bad. Okay, let's fix that. She looks like she's now just dying over here. There we go.
Your words, not mine.
Yeah, my words were I believe.
Yeah. How'd that go again?
Just like that.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yeah. Tasmanian Devil. Message from Bill.
Right? Exactly. Well, this isn't going well. I'm making a mess of things over here. I didn't wait for this paint to dry before I went into the next area. And so now the lips are bleeding into the rest of the picture, and it's pretty ugly, actually. So I'm going to go in here with a brush with just water on it. I'm going to just smooth that out. And actually, it's kind of cool because it's left her, from the biofilters being too clogged. Yeah, that's it. It's left her lips with a nice pink hue, but it's not abrupt anymore.
Yeah.
which actually turned out nice. I'm not going to complain at all. In the repair, it turned out better than the original.
Well, that's good. I like those happy accident Bob Ross moments.
Happy little accidents. Well, I'll do the same thing with this happy little accident right over here. There we go. I do dig this brown that you've got for over here. It is a cool brown. It's a very red brown. But that's okay.
The tree bark, right? That I gave you?
Yep. I know that I envisioned Tom having dark skin, but I didn't know what dark skin. I didn't have a picture in my head.
Uh-huh.
I get my 3D printer tomorrow, Brent. I do. It's going to be so cool. So excited. It's a resin printer, so I'm not going to have a big bed for doing a lot of things. So, but it's still, I'm all excited about this. This is going to be so cool. This is why Donald keeps hearing the door knocks and stuff like that. He's reading my mind in the anticipation that UPS will be here tomorrow.
Or he's hearing the sounds of my upstairs neighbors.
Being upstairs neighborly. There we go.
And their 2 kids.
You know, nothing we can do. Kids are noisy.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to having my 3D printer. All right. Now we got to do the Logan's Run uniform. This is like an enlisted uniform that they alternately wear in the enlisted corps because Tom is enlisted. So we've got to come up with color codes for that. This is a new thing for us today as well.
So you are coming up with newly enlisted colors, like ones that don't have like a chain of command yet?
Well, no, so the guys and I worked out like all of the way that it works in the Unity. And sort of we kind of came up with, there's 2 levels of enlisted. There's like the first 4 ranks are pretty much you're a newbie and you don't understand how the military works. And so that's what you're here for. The next 4 ranks in enlisted are, you're here, but you're really just kind of here for the short term. You're not here for a long term. You're just you're doing your job. You're good at your job. You know what you're doing. And then the officer ranks then are more along the lines of, and this is just conceptualizing, the officer ranks are more along the lines, more of you're in it for, you're trying to do what's right for the military. So I actually kind of have been thinking that in general, that's the way we sort of perceive all jobs. It's kind of like we do that with everybody. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. Like any job, you've got the people who are really into the job. Let me just adjusting the camera. The people who really do the job, and then you have the people who are just there for the paycheck. And so the idea was that enlisted are just there for the paycheck, generally speaking. That doesn't necessarily mean that's always the case, but generally speaking, they're just there for the paycheck. And then the officer corps is the people who are really trying to get stuff done for the military. So Tum is enlisted, so he's still. I think we made him a lance corporal because I've always loved lance corporal. Lance corporal's just cool. So let's see what color. These uniforms shouldn't be blue because they are. I mean, I think his off color is violet, so we're going to give him violet for the off color, and that's good. And I think I'll make it gray because his department that he's in is purple.
Good to know.
Yeah. The department color. This is similar to what they do on aircraft carriers. Each job that they've got on a carrier, they have a different color so that you can see who's doing what and know where they are when they're on the deck and you can't hear because the jets are really loud. So you can't hear when on deck. So a lot of the different people on the decks of carriers will have different colors indicating what their job is on the deck. And so I kind of went with that concept more than just the Star Trek concept of, you have red means this and blue means that and, yellow means that. And more along the lines of their departments are specialized. And the idea being that in the same principle, if the ship is in hard vacuum, which, happens a lot, it's a spaceship, so if it's in hard vacuum, you can see everybody as to what their job is. So all of the uniforms that these guys wear are space type. So they can seal and they can seal up. Yeah, that is looking good. Go with Brent in that.
I'm going to watch. Oh, thanks, Brent. Yeah, so if you guys missed it, I'll try to... There we go. It adjusted! Yay! So I finished the character.
Man.
It's just a sketch, so it's not like a finished drawing or anything. But it gets the point across.
I think you're doing faster than me, though. That's just sad.
Guy,
mine wasn't even drawn.
I just want to point out the surface that I'm working on is the size of my head.
Right.
Okay, yours is definitely bigger.
Genetics. So. I'm sorry. I had a little bit of geek tank right there. I couldn't help. It was a geek tank moment. There's nothing I can do.
I said it's as big as my head, and I knew that's where it was gonna go.
You knew it wasn't gonna make it out there. It just wasn't, not intact.
No.
There was just no way.
No.
Okay, so I have this really neat blue, which is sparkly, but I don't want to use it because it's sparkly.
So you have a metallic blue?
Using sparkly blue from now on. Phrasing. Yeah, Pepper definitely has more time watercoloring. He's got more time on this job than I do, and that is absolutely true. I'm not. As much as I'm making snarky comments, I'm really not actually upset at all.
Yeah. I still giggle when people say ball or balls, so don't worry about it.
Right, because like we all are secretly, we're not even secretly 12.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it goes.
Bill and I were talking the other day, and we were we were sitting there saying, Bill came up with this hypothetical, like similar to the Amazon show. Basically, if you died and there was a way to keep your mind and personality and everything inside of a digital computer, like, would you do it? And I was like, if I and basically exist in an MMO type situation.
Right.
So he was bringing this up because we've been playing a lot of World of Warcraft lately, and so the theory was to actually get, if we entered this and we were dead and we had all the time in the world pretty much to play World of Warcraft, would we do it if we could feel all the things? Because we already died physically, but like when you die in there, it'll just basically, yeah,
It ends up
like
being
you
kind of like
basically just go back. Huh?
it ends up being like Westworld, or Westworld at that point. Another show that
Yeah.
I'm stuck in the middle of.
So, or Blade Runner. One of the two.
Yeah. Do androids dream of electric sheep?
But basically, I said that I would be willing to go into an MMO scenario if they allowed me to be my 10-year-old self in the MMO afterlife. I said some pretty wrong things when I was 10 initially. And so now that I'm an adult in a 10-year-old body, I would definitely have fun with that.
Do things that you didn't do the first time around because you were having like trouble with life.
Well, that, and I would just walk up to people and just basically be like, "Hi."
Balls.
They'll be like, "Hi." Basically, just look at them and go, "Something's behind you that's gonna peel." Bye. Like stuff like that.
Yep.
And Brent, I don't share your sentiments. I'm a Janai for the sorry. Yeah, I did tell Bill about Upload. Yeah, so he was describing like Upload, but I don't think Upload you can choose your age. You go in whatever age you're at. You just don't age anything after that. So I think that's true.
Yeah, I think I'd go in at 25. That'd be where I'd like to be. Feel like that would be a better age.
You know what? I completely forgot that I still have this over here. Yay. I do have something else I can paint. Yay, good. And it's far back, so I don't have to worry about the other paint. Okay. Actually, no, I can't do that yet. Let's see. All right.
There we go. I'm kind of feeling like this is coming along really nicely.
All right.
And for once,
So obviously,
I have a picture. It's not just Chang.
you ever think like you ever have like those moments where you're like, as a comic book artist, I want to do this, but I seem to have this problem where I only draw single characters.
Right?
You know what? I think I found my pumpkin color. I completely forgot that I have a muted orange.
I just totally heard
But it's more.
orange.
Oh.
Just saying.
It's because you want to add a P to all of to the front of all of your colors.
It's because of Othello. I'm just saying. Bestest color ever.
Oh, you are so wrong.
Oh man. At least we're having fun. That's the way to do these things. This is the way to live life.
Yeah.
And go in here and erase this, which is funky, but it works.
All right. So we what I just switched to is I actually have a palette that I am putting together with Lee's skin tone, Chang's skin tone, with a red and an orange.
Should be interesting.
Yeah. So I guess you guys following along.
You're making good on your argument to mix and match that color.
Oh yeah.
Works for me.
Now I get to figure out what I'm going to draw.
Best color ever is midnight blue.
Best color. You know what? I would say true indigo for me.
It's interesting that all of us, though, are in the blue realm. That's fascinating.
Well, I mean, blue is a very interesting color for me because it can go so light and then it can go so dark. But then also at the same time, it can actually go bluer or it can go purple. Like it's a very and it's a color that doesn't happen in nature. Like we've always had a manufactured blue.
Right.
And if it does happen in nature, it's very rare. So it does fascinate me. There is a form of blue ochre that I found out that is someone found a ochre type clay, I think in Washington or Oregon or something like that. And they've been making paint with it. And it looks beautiful. It's a very light blue color. A little bit on the opaque side from what I see, but like you can just dilute it. Egyptian blue was actually created, and if you actually look into it, you can find out that under certain lights, you can bring the color back on all the statues that they put on ancient Egyptian statues. Egyptian blue was put on, you can actually see it again under certain lights.
Is that, yeah, because Egyptian blue vanished?
Yeah, it vanishes over time.
Yeah. I found out something horrifying last night from Jan, because she told me that the way that they used to do cells was they would draw the drawings on paper and then they put it through this this machine that would burn that onto a cell. So your drawing would be burned onto the cell, and that's how they would ink the cells. And she told me, she said, depending on the heat transfer of that, because it was a heat transfer sort of situation, you know, it takes the graphite and heat transfers it to the cell.
Yeah.
She was saying, depending on how you set the settings, if you set them really weak and did that really weak, then the paints from the Liquitex paints that they'd put on there would ultimately eat through that and it would vanish. And so some of the cheaper shows like Dragon Ball and like Sailor Moon, some of the cheaper shows, the cells will ultimately eat through all the line work and leave you with just colors because you just see the paints. And I didn't know that. And I'm like, oh crap, there's like a series of cells out there that are all just fading away slowly. And you'll never be able to keep them. It's like brass etching. Exactly.
Yeah.
But but that's the thing is like, that's what I want to start doing is this technique that I've been working on here. I drew this on Clip Studio last night or this morning. This picture I drew on Clip Studio and then printed it over there on the printer that took like 15 more minutes than it should have because the printer was being a pain. But then I printed it out on cold press paper. And then I've been painting from there, and it looks great. Everything looks fine. It looks really good. But I want to do the same technique except with transparencies, and then see if I can't make cells. So just take normal transparencies that you'd get on a here we go. I'm gonna click. I'm gonna sign my.
You can buy the plastic sheets for transparency.
Yep. That's what I got. I got them right over there. You can
actually get
I've got them under the printer right now, and I'm just waiting. I did find my box of old Liquitex. And then I was talking to Jan, and she was like, when I was working in Thailand, because apparently she was working in Thailand, the company that she was working on decided to open a branch in Thailand. And so she was over in Thailand, and she's like, we couldn't get the Liquitexes transported over here because it was the 90s, and Thailand was Thailand and stuff like that. And she was having a hard time with all of that. And so what she ended up ultimately doing was using house paint. So she'd go buy house paint and paint the cells with house paint. And I'm like, here I've been trying to get like super special things. She's like, nah, you can get all the paints at Michael's. They're actually not that expensive. They work just fine. And everything comes out just okay. And I said, my biggest problem is I was getting streaks in the paint. And she's like, oh, use a light table. And I was like, what? Oh my God, that's so stupidly simple. And here I've been fighting over this problem and fighting over this problem. She's like, use a light table. Because then you can totally see when you've covered the area smoothly. Because then you don't have to worry about it. Because the light will shine through it if you don't. And I'm like, oh, man. So I actually I'm pretty pleased. She's going to actually give me lessons at some point. She's like, I thought this was just going to be dead. Now nobody does cells anymore. And I'm like, it'll go into niche, I think. But I think that'd be kind of fun to sell cells on my table because it's unique. Yeah. It's different. It doesn't look the same as everything else. It looks very different. And so I think that'd be fun to do is sell cells effectively at the show.
So. Sell cells by the cell shore? No.
We're just asking for some kind of joke here. We are just asking for some kind of joke.
Yeah.
He sells seashells by the seashore. But anyway, it was a fascinatingly interesting discussion I had last night about the old school version of how things used to work back in the 1980s and 90s anime world. And so I feel like prison cells. I'm going to stay away from those as much as I possibly can. It's all right with you guys.
I'm good staying away from prison cells too, Guy.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Not interested at all.
We need to color in her rank. Otherwise, she doesn't have rank. This is before she got her promotion to Lieutenant Commander. So she is just Lieutenant here. And he is a corporal. Now all I'm doing is just touching up stuff. There we go. He sells cells by the cellar room. Right?
No, that's not creepy at all.
No. Anything that involves the cellar, I don't even know why anybody has cellars anymore, you know?
Remnants of the past?
There we go. That's it. It's just because you're longing for the old days.
Yeah, where you could hide a body and no one would find it
Cellar.
for years.
Exactly. There we go. There we go. To have wine. Oh, come on, Donald. Why would you have a cellar for selling or for having wine? I mean, it's obviously body storage.
Exactly. It's like getting a prime spot near the swamp in Florida, man.
There we go. Much better. Now that that's dried. And this is back in the day. So I called my buddy, my best buddy, who is a lieutenant colonel. And I said, okay, I need my character to start out on a very, very low point. She needs to start out low because the whole point is this is going to be, you know, an arc on this character. Okay, no problem. But I mean, I want her to be Hawkeye Pierce to some degree, you know, but not. And he was like, Hawkeye Pierce was never in command. And I was like, well, yeah, that's now you see my conundrum. How do I make this work so that she can be Hawkeye Pierce-esque, you know, sort of getting drunk and sort of that kind of stuff, but not, you know, not, but still hold her command. And he was like, wow, that's kind of a tough. So we ended up like hammering out this convoluted, twisted past for her that makes it reasonable and logical for her to be. I mean, she never comes to work drunk, but she does come to work like hungover. You know what I mean? And so we've got.
Are you talking about Chang?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chang's in a rough space when we first see her.
Okay.
She's not doing good when we first meet her, and she has to move from that point. But I have to push the line on what would be acceptable for an officer and an officer in command. You know, because like you go too far, and it's like, look, nobody would leave her in charge of a ship. You know, and so I can't push too far because it's like there's no way. But we came up with a cool thing because we decided that what's happening is she's on a rehabilitation command because she was in command. Then the horrible event happened in her life and she's spiraled out of control. But before that, she was a perfectly upstanding officer doing really good and not having any problems. And she was actually like moving fast and high speed, low drag and all that stuff. And this is her in that era right here. This is what, you know, so she's happy, she's chatting, she's talking, she's conversing, she's, you know, it's been a good thing. You know, she had you know, a good. And then when she was on, um, gosh, what was there's a word for it. Her daughter got sick, and so they put her, or they pulled her back to a space station so she could be near her daughter. And it was, um, I, I can't think of it now. All I can think of is sympathy assignment, but that's not what it was. Compassion assignment, I think is what they called it. But
Okay.
they put her on a, yeah, I mean, the whole idea is that she's not starting out in a good place. So we've got to start her off in a rough spot, which is okay. Because that's
Okay.
every character has an arc through the stories. They all have arcs that they're trying to accomplish. And hers is to come out of this dip that she's in. Anyway, so Brent saying, so like Orville, like the Orville start. And I was like, yeah, I like Orville. So we worked it out that she went back, and then her daughter passed away, and that put her in a, and her husband left, and that put her in a really dark space. She was still ashore, so to speak, at that point, but her time was up for that assignment, and so she needed to go back out to a ship's command. She didn't qualify to be promoted to a destroyer because she was kind of getting drunk a lot and doing horrible things and yada yada yada. She didn't qualify for a destroyer, so they stuck her on another corvette, because anything else would have been a demotion, and they understand that she's just going through a rough patch and she needs to kind of get over it and yada 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 and stuff. So that's where we are. Boy, that took a lot of mental gymnastics to get her to be viable as in this position. But we got it. I was pretty pleased, because that's one of those things that, you know, people will watch things like Discovery and they'll say, well, yeah, but nobody in the military will do that, or, you know, nobody would actually act that way or whatever. And I don't want people to go through my story and say that, but I do need to put her in a bad position to start. We need to have her in a kind of a rough place to begin, so she can come out of that hole. And it actually worked really well, because she needs to finish her cycle on the Kittiwake and either straighten up and fly right, or be drummed out of the Navy. You know, so as time's going to go on in the story, there will be pressure on her, because either she has to cycle out or she has to get a destroyer as a command. She has to move up. And so there's going to be this pressure as we come to the end of her cycle. You know, come to the end of that second cycle on the Kittiwake. So she may not be, we actually have decided that by the end of the first 12 issues, is it 12? I can't remember. By the end of the first run, that first run has to end at a point where we do something that gets her promoted, or we have to decide whether she's done. And I don't think she's going to be done. She's a great character. So we'll promote her out, and then we'll give her a destroyer. So I need to be better about my destroyers, because now I have to think about this, and there will be a destroyer in the future.
Okay.
So if the destroyers suck and I hate the design, I'm going to be like, well, I screwed myself over here. So, okay. I mean, short of the George hair. Oh, there's one little piece right here. Then we'll be done. I think this guy will be done. I like this piece. This piece is cool.
Looks good so far.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. He and I also talked about how to get the old kitty-wake to... The destroyer does have to be pretty. I have to draw it. It's like... I like the kitty...
George Ship Destroyer.
Ship Destroyer George. It could happen. What happened? George destroyed the ship. Curse you, George. All right. I feel like this piece is pretty decent. It's a pretty decent piece. It's got a lot of... what was it that Jan was saying last night? She was like, there's something about watercolors where it has to look accidental to a degree. Like it can't be too accidental, but on the flip side, you can't have it be not accidental enough. You know, it's like it's
a fine balance, guy. It's a fine balance.
Brent says, remember, ships are not supposed to be pretty, just functional. I'm like, Brent, we'll just have to agree to disagree on that one.
I mean, destroyer ships, in my opinion, he's right. They're supposed to be functional, not pretty.
Well, but I actually do like the destroyer that I made. The one that I'm still not so happy on are the light cruisers because they've got the beard, and I have to... Something about that beard, I don't know. I like it, and then I don't like it. So, I don't know. Well, by the end of the first arc of this story, there's going to be a radical change in the way that ships function. So, that's built into the story. So that I guess it's kind of okay. That, but, yeah. Okay, well, we are now at 12 o'clock. It's time for lunch. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think of things like, let's talk about the A10 Warthog, shall we? Because, really, honestly, the A10, that's an ugly plane, but beautifully ugly. Something about firing depleted uranium rounds, too. Okay, guys. Well, it is 12 o'clock now. And we're going to move on. I love that piece that you're working on right there. Now I get to see that piece. I didn't get to see it earlier.
Well, this is the second one. The first one is...
That one?
Yeah,
right?
The one that's underneath it.
The A10 is a sexy beast. That is a sexy plane. Mean as all get out, but boy.
No.
That's one of those things. It's
I'll finish this. I'll finish it for you next week.
Okay. We'll come back in next week and we'll do that. Okay, guys. Everybody go to lunch. Break for lunch, guys. Thank you, Pepper, for joining me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Sorry, I got lost in my art earlier, so that's why I was quiet.
I hate to say this, but that's exactly what we're here for, dude. To get lost. And that's the plan. That is the plan. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
all right.
I will see you Friday. We'll discuss.
Bye, everyone.
But in the meantime, I'll see you all later. Remember, everybody, keep your eyes on the stars. Bye-bye.